Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to Indaba Africa. This is Chris. The topic of today's video is President Cyril Ramaphosa's speech to South Africans on the 12th of July 2020. Last night, President Ramaphosa addressed the nation once again on the current status of the Wuhan coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic raging across South Africa, and his African National Congress's government's reaction, its steps, his comments, and where the country is headed from here. This particular video I'm calling Cyril's Sad Songs. Why do I say that? Because the speech last night puts me in mind of Elton John's 1984 song, Sad Songs. You see, I guess there are times when we all need to share a little pain. And ironing out the rough spots is the hardest part when memories remain. Last night, ladies and gentlemen, President Ramaphosa had the following to say. For more than 120 days, we have succeeded in delaying the spread of the virus that is causing devastation across the globe. Delaying? From 1,800 confirmed cases when the lockdown began to 275,000 confirmed cases today. That's a delay? How many cases were you expecting, Pretoria? 2 million? 3 million? Please explain how that's a delay. It doesn't seem like much of a delay to me. He continues, but now the surge in infections that we had been advised by our medical experts would come has arrived. The surge of infections that our experts and scientists predicted over 3 months ago has now arrived. But 4 months ago, you told us the lockdown was to prepare hospitals, not delay the virus. And if you knew there would be a surge, why did you lift the lockdown restrictions on June 1st? What is that all about? If you knew there would be a surge as a consequence of that, why did you lift it? This beggars the imagination. One can only guess that this government really doesn't know what it's talking about. That it lifted the sanctions or the restrictions under intense pressure and not because it had any logical purpose. If they knew 3 months ago there would be a surge, why would you ease restrictions in the face of a surge? As of this evening, there are 276,242 confirmed cases in South Africa, now recording over 12,000 new cases every day. The coronavirus storm is far fiercer and far more destructive than any we have ever known before. To which I say, really? In 2019, 240,000 people were infected with HIV in South Africa. 71,000 South Africans died from HIV-related causes in 2019. Just over 4,000 people have currently died in South Africa after 6 months of this virus being present in the country. 4,000, by 71,000 who died from HIV causes in 2019. In 2018, the most recent data available, 63,000 people died from tuberculosis in South Africa. 301,000 South Africans fell ill from tuberculosis. 71,000 HIV deaths in 2019, 63,000 tuberculosis deaths in 2018. And this is the fiercest and most destructive pandemic or virus you've ever seen in South Africa? Can you say this with a straight face? Apparently you can, Mr. Ramaphosa. He continues, in the midst of our national effort to fight against this virus, there are a number of people who have taken to organizing parties, who have been drinking sprees, and some who walk around in crowded spaces without masks. Indeed. Cadres, arrogant members. What about the transport minister who is meeting with taxi unions shoulder to shoulder on public streets? Thousands of people crowded in tight spaces with no mask. Broadcast on national television in the midst of a lockdown. Are these the people to whom you refer? Or are you demonizing regular South Africans for their conduct and not members of your government? He continues, it is concerning that many are downplaying the seriousness of the virus despite all the evidence to the contrary and what we have cautioned on numerous occasions. This may be a disease that is caused by a virus, but it is spread by human conduct and behavior. Scientists and other scenario planners have presented us with models that project that South Africa may have between 40 and 50,000 deaths before the end of the year. While I don't doubt that figure based on the current situation and the number of deaths thus far and the fact that you claim that you're just now reaching the surge, why is Gauteng province reportedly digging 1.5 million grave sites? 1.5 million in a single province. What's the purpose of that? Is that fraud, waste, and abuse and misuse of government funds? In a time of a pandemic, the money could be better spent on medical facilities and treatment and care. Or do you know something you're not telling us? Sort of like the part where you told us that your experts told you 3 months ago that the surge would come now, but you didn't share that with the public. You kept that from the public. And you told them if they only stayed home and didn't leave their homes, all would be okay. On the advice of health scientists and experts, our decision to declare a nationwide lockdown prevented a massive early surge of infections when our health services were less prepared, which would have resulted in far greater loss of life. Given that you imply the situation is continue indefinitely, what exactly did you gain from the destruction of the social fabric of South Africa and the country's economy, which was already in a tailspin? This moment of crisis requires that we mobilize society on a massive scale to confront this pandemic. We are working with traditional leaders, religious formations, civil society organizations, business associations, unions, and other bodies to spread the message about prevention and care. Really? You're just coming to this conclusion 4 months after you started a lockdown? This really doesn't engender a great deal of confidence in your government, let alone the National Coronavirus Command Council. This is the conclusion they reached? Mobilize society through traditional healers and churches 4 months after you start lockdown? Seriously? This is a government? In light of the increased rate of infection, the National Coronavirus Command Council and Cabinet have considered returning all or parts of the country to a higher alert level, either to level 4 or level 5. The advice we have received is that taking this step now would not necessarily achieve a significant reduction in the rate of transmission and would come at an extraordinary economic cost, putting more livelihoods at risk and potentially causing long-lasting social harm. Well, you got that right, Mr. Ramaphosa, but someone with a grade school education could have told you this 4 months ago. Why did you not protect the most vulnerable in society instead of destroying the social fabric and the economic livelihood of the country? And now you come to this conclusion 4 months later after the damage has been done. And you say you're not going to raise the level back to level 4 and level 5, but you have pushed measures back to those levels, which in effect puts people back in that level. Employers, shop owners, and managers, public transport operators, and managers and owners of any other public building are now legally obliged to ensure that anyone entering their premises or vehicle must be wearing a mask. Does that include people who have underlying health conditions or respiratory disease that prevents them from wearing a mask? Are you discriminating against them? Will you prevent those people from using public facilities and businesses? Are they to starve to death because they have a respiratory illness and can't wear a mask to breathe? All workplaces and all institutions need to ensure that there is a designated coronavirus official responsible for making sure that all regulations and all precautions are strictly adhered to. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the German Democratic Republic, der Deutsche Demokratische Republik, die ehemaligen DDR. And the Stasi is alive and well in South Africa. So now every corporation, every business works for the Stasi? Is there a narc on every corner? What's next? The statutory requirement for political commissars in every company? Is that what's coming next? Will the ANC government require businesses to hire political spies to watch South Africans and report on them? They're forcing them to have an official to be the coronavirus official. This is Orwellian, ladies and gentlemen. Animal Farm in 1984 from George Orwell can't even compare to this nonsense. Taxis undertaking local trips will now be permitted to increase their capacity to 100%, while long-distance taxis will not be allowed to exceed 70% occupancy. Now, my question, is there a certain type of magic that mystically prevents the virus from traveling in confined spaces over a short distance, vice over traveling long distance? It gives it more opportunity. This makes no sense whatsoever. Notice that I didn't say black magic. Wouldn't want to be accused of misusing the adjective black, because typically black magic is what we associate here. Bizarre. Now, the following measures will take place. In order to conserve hospital capacity, the sale, dispensing, and distribution of alcohol will be suspended with immediate effect. No indication of when it will be lifted. Talk about capricious governance. No warning, no advice, just the government deciding who and who cannot drink alcohol. And there's not even a law stopping anyone from doing this. Yet the National Coronavirus Command Council is implementing a directive. The Soviet Union would be so proud. The political commissars, the members of the Politburo could never achieve this level of control. A curfew will be put in place between the hours of 9 p.m. and 4 a.m. Really? Okay? And the curfew will take effect from tomorrow, which is now today, the 13th of July at 9 p.m., 2100. Parks will be open for exercise, but not for any other form of gathering. So if you're going to meet your family in the park, just keep walking around and talking to everybody at the same time. You'll be okay. Cabinet has also approved the extension of the national state of disaster to the 15th of August. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. 2 more months. 2 more months of a state of disaster in South Africa. He continues, as a nation, we have come together to support each other, to provide comfort to those who are ill, and to promote acceptance of people living with the virus. Have you? I would say you haven't. Your government has discriminated against minorities, forcing their businesses to collapse, harming all South Africans, with things like the Tourism Relief Fund denying relief funds to minority-owned businesses, claiming it's not discriminatory. And then your court being in the bag, the North Gauteng High Court, confirming that in fact it's not illegal or racist to discriminate against South Africans on the basis of skin color. Even under apartheid, the government wasn't this cheeky. Additionally, President Ramaphosa, you have personally demonized white South Africans, calling 4.8 million people racist by nature, including infants, toddlers, small children, who haven't even been acculturated in any culture, calling them racist, as if it's some sort of genetic defect. The vile hate speech that has come out of the African National Congress throughout the course of this pandemic has not brought anyone together. It's simply divided society. He continues, but if there's one thing we've learned over the past few months, it is that South Africans remain united in the face of a common threat. We have stood for each other and stood by each other. Let us firm the hand of solidarity we have extended to the vulnerable and to the destitute. You have not stood by anyone, sir. In fact, your government has arrested generous people who organized food parcels and delivered them to hungry South Africans. You arrested them as common criminals for violating lockdown, while your government, the African National Congress government, left certain sectors of society to starve. The food parcels organized by government, the few that were done, were not delivered universally. They were delivered to certain locations. And other South Africans organized food to help South Africans survive. Ladies and gentlemen, this speech by President Cyril Ramaphosa does not engender confidence. Not in the least. And once again, it puts me in mind of Elton John's 1984 song, Sad Songs. Because when all hope is gone, sad songs say so much. When every little bit of hope is gone, sad songs say so much. When every little bit of hope is gone, sad songs say so much. And what more can we say? But that President Ramaphosa's sad song is something we hear yet again on the radio and on television. When he does choose to appear, he fills us with songs of hope, but really look for the details in the speech. He says the platitudes, but the actions of the African National Congress and the National Coronavirus Command Council speak far louder. Sad songs say so much. Indeed they do, ladies and gentlemen. And this has been another video on Africa from Chris White Africa, the Daba Africa channel, folks. I hope that you found this thought-provoking or interesting. My reaction to President Ramaphosa's 12 July speech to South Africa on the state of the Wuhan coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic and where the country currently sits. He paints a bright picture, but it's not really the situation. 275,000 confirmed cases, and likely it's probably 10 times as many South Africans have been infected with the virus at this point, most of whom never saw any symptoms. Over 4,000 deaths. Says the country should expect 40 to 50,000 deaths by the end of the year. Yet the province of Gauteng, the most populous province, or wealthiest province, is reportedly digging 1.5 million grave sites. What's that all about? Bringing the country together? I don't see that at all. When the president of your country tells the nation that it is in the nature of white people to be racist, and this is what causes domestic abuse. When you have a president that says things like this, how is that bringing people together? When you have a government that denies emergency relief funds in a black swan event like this pandemic to minority-owned businesses simply on the basis of the color of the skin of the owner, ignoring the fact that 2/3 of all employees of minority-owned businesses are not white, they're not colored, they're not Indian, but they're black South Africans. This foolhardy and discriminatory, racially discriminatory practice damages all South Africans. and it ensures the death of South Africa's economy. And that's right, ladies and gentlemen. If you've enjoyed this video and you're not a subscriber, I ask you to subscribe to the channel by smashing that subscription button right down there. Be sure to toggle that bell icon right there to get notified of updates from my live streams and prepared videos. If you have any comments, questions, feel free to leave those in the comment section. I try to read all comments. And finally, I ask that you smash the like button down there. If it's loose, just tap it. Give me a like on the video, as more likes as a percentage of views drives viewership. And I thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. God bless. South Africa, hang in there. Somehow, you're all going to get through this. I'm not sure how, but it's going to happen.